With a broken heart, tell me if I deserve this feeling.
Hey everyone, welcome back! Revenant Prime is out, and you know what that means. It's time to do another level cap run. But this time I also wanted to use our new weapons. I'm gonna go out and say that Tatsu Prime is not exactly a good weapon. It's functional. Obviously it's better than our normal Tatsu. But if you want a top tier heavy attack two-handed Nikana for raw damage, look no further than the Pennant. If you're looking for a slash DPS heavy attack, or a light attack spam two-handed Nikana, the Tenet Livia reigns supreme at this. The Tatsu Prime is basically just a fashion piece for meta. That doesn't mean it's bad though, it's still usable and part of the issues have nothing to do with the weapon itself. Nevertheless, we know the Phantasma is insanely strong and the Prime even more so. I just wanted to know if we could make the Tatsu Prime hold up against level 9k Steel Path Demolysts. Revenant himself hasn't had any changes since his Prime release, but don't forget they did buff his Mesmer skin a couple of weeks ago to have a minimum of 1 second invulnerability before it can lose another stack even against XMI units, which could previously shoot them all off in about 2 or 3 seconds. More importantly, since it's so easy to survive on Revenant, it means he has several open slots on the frame for extra modding. This is my Expedite Suffering Revenant I brought for our run today. As Mesmer Skin gives total status immunity and essentially full damage immunity, I don't need to worry about Augur mods or Brief Respite for shield gating. This means I can combine enemy radar with my companion's Prime Danimal Instinct for 60 meter radius to see Demolysts spawn on the map much further away. I originally had preparation here as you can see, but I realized very quickly when the Demolist pulses off your Mesmer Skin on a melee build, it's really annoying to use Epitaph. So honestly, if you do use Epitaph, I would recommend running Prime Sure-Footed here for level 9k runs, especially if your skin ends right at the moment a Heat Xmas yeets you with their heat field. The full throw knockdown lasts about 4 seconds and can easily get you killed. It can also get your operator killed, but that's up to you. It only directly resulted in me downing on a Demolyst twice and from XMI twice during the run, and well, you can always just recast Mesmer Skin before it expires. I also don't need to manage my energy bar much, since the Tatsu Prime only has 22% crit chance, and being able to slot extra Gladiator mods on Revenant massively buffs the crit scaling of the weapon. This is the only way we can directly improve Tatsu's performance using Warframe mod slots. As our other source of damage, Strength for Expedite Suffering is already extremely high and difficult to push further. Expedite works by taking all active slash and toxin procs, combining all of their intended damage over time into a single big hit, and then multiplying it by strength. So it will take the entire 6 seconds of slash ticks worth, and on this build, inflate it by 2.98 times higher since I have 298 strength. This means Expedite Suffering setups are burst focused setups. You want to get all your setup in as fast as possible, then cast Expedite to nuke. This also means if you don't do enough damage, the enemy will survive with no bleeds remaining, and you are now open to taking damage since you need to set back up crowd control and slash procs again. This is where Tatsu Prime understandably fell behind in the run slightly. It worked, but just barely. Livia has 37% more raw damage with better crits. If you're using a 60% Progenitor Livia, meaning it is much easier to prep enough damage to one-shot the Demolist and would be my recommendation here. Actually, as an aside, if you're wondering why I'm using a light attack Expedite build instead of a heavy attack setup which has force proc slash, that's because Nightmare made a heavy attack Livia Expedite build almost 1 year ago for demos. I wanted to see if we could make use of a light attack build on arguably the worst two-handed Nikana family, even while lacking buffs like Roar or Eclipse. There's also another interesting quirk with Tatsu that I will get into in later. But yes, back to Revenant. The open slots means that we can fit these 2 Gladiator mods with one on Tatsu for a 30% set bonus. It's essentially almost a second Blood Rush. I originally had a 3rd Gladiator mod here, but I realized with how underpowered the Tatsu Prime was, I wanted to get in and out as fast as I could, and I slotted Natural Talent to speed up the Expedite cast, as well as Mesmer Skin. Basically, if you down before you can cast Expedite, your entire rotation is wasted. This probably wouldn't be an issue with Livia, but then again, Livia doesn't need 3 Gladiator mods on Revenant since it has much better crit stats. Streamline so that you can cast your Mesmer Skin or Expedite more than 3 times, as a single orb would allow 4th cast. But essentially, our main DPS rotation consists of 1 Expedite and 1 Mesmer Skin recast, since it usually gets pulsed off at level 9k while setting up slash procs against the Demolist. Remember, you have Rolling Guard too as well. Could I have used the Convectrix? Yes, but we wanted to push a light attack on Tatsu Prime to its absolute limits with our new Prime frame, Revenant. I kept range neutral since this affects how far Expedite can hit, with the default being 12 meters. Keeping this neutral ensures I can still hit Demolysts even if they start running away after Magus lockdown wears off, even with cold procs. Duration being slightly negative doesn't matter since I'm not using Reeve much for the duration. Enthrall still lasts 22 seconds on the setup, and its main purpose is actually to enthrall Acolytes, which removes their flat damage reduction and makes them significantly easier to kill, even in level 9k runs. I would hazard to say they are somewhere between 5 to 10 times less tanky when you cast this on them, so it's definitely a magic bullet. Arcane Energize is our only source of energy regen to stay topped up, and Arcane Strike to pile on even more attack speed to Tatsu, as two-handed Nikanas are not exactly a fast melee archetype. Demolysts are immune to radiation, so I actually took Epitaph instead of Nucor this time. While Nucor can get 4 elements plus the microwave effect and also an impact progenitor, you also get slash through hemorrhage. For a total of 6, Demos being immune to radiation status means it cuts it down to 5 for condition overload on our Tatsu Prime. Tatsu itself will add puncture for a 6 status. Compress on the other hand only gets us 3, with Tatsu adding another 3 through IPS for 6 also. Epitaph gives Viral, Heat, Blast, and Cold, which slows the Demolist down and is unique here, and all 3 IPS for 7. This is why I took Epitaph today, because Tatsu Prime needs all of the damage it can get. The cold procs also help for slowing the demo down even after Magus Lockdown wears off since we're on a melee DPS setup. But that's why we need Prime Sure-Footed. If you're using an in-and-out heavy attack Expedite build, or gun DPS like Convectrix for slash procs for Expedite, you do more damage. Not need Prime Sure-Footed since you don't need all 7 status effects and thus can safely use a Nucor or Compressor since the demos won't have time to get away. I'd still recommend Pistol Ammo Mutation to make up for spamming the primer against trash fodder. Put Arcane Dexterity 2 on for an extra 7.5 seconds combo duration for your Tatsu. I also brought a Fenmore for my primary to deal with Acolytes. I guess you could also take a Felarx, but it's just a generic Corrosive Heat build. Since we don't have a way to armor strip, enthrall the Acolyte and shoot it. It's dead. That's pretty much it. It won't die instantly at level 9k, but it will die pretty quickly. If you want a further breakdown on Fenmore and the Felarx, please check out my videos on that topic, as especially for Felarx, there are a variety of completely different builds you can run. Also, since you're going to be maining Tatsu DPS, put Dexterity on your primary as well for another 7.5 seconds combo duration. This also means when you pull your gun out to shoot the Acolyte, it will already have a fully stacked base damage bonus from Dexterity. For Focus School today, I'm going with Neramon. Revenant doesn't really die, so we don't need Vazarin for Protective Sling. Neramon gives Power Spike so that our combo only decays by 5 each time it expires. Since the Tatsu is meant for Demolists, I don't have any range on it, so building combo on it would be a massive pain if it resets. Now, how is Tatsu Prime for Steel Path level 9k? It is still good enough to easily handle trash fodder due to the slash weight, even 33% is still functional. Honestly, any slash base melee can do it even if Tatsu Prime is the weakest in the two-handed Nikana family. But here's an interesting tidbit for Tatsu against Demolists. Why did I want to use a light attack build so much? Because Tatsu is the only two-handed Nikana with innate radiation. Demolists are actually immune to radiation status, and it gets completely ignored in elemental weighting calculations. By the way, this means if you're going to pick up Olivia for disruption, pick up a radiation one because it will also ignore on the Demolist. But for the Tatsu, this gets treated as having 76 slash out of 150 damage or 51% slash weight. But the radiation damage isn't wasted at all, nor is the base damage value. It is still treated as a 230 base damage weapon, just with 51% slash instead, which is much better than the 33% slash weight Tatsu would normally be at against enemies. Was it enough? Let's look at the build. Remember, this is a light attack spam build. It would look completely different on a heavy attack setup. If you want to replicate this loadout, I would strongly advise using a Radiation 10 Olivia instead, with the exact same build. The Wise Razor Stance sucks, and we have no alternatives. If we were killing trash mobs, it's actually better to go stanceless for more horizontal swings, faster combos, and plowing through crowds. Unfortunately, the forced forward movement is unsuitable for Demolists, which requires sustained DPS in a light spam build, so I was forced to use it to ensure my swings stay on target. For a full breakdown on how the stance handles and why it's problematic, check out my 10 Olivia video at the top right. Otherwise, we consistently get 7 different status effects, so Condition Overload adds 560% bonus base damage. Blood Rush adds 96.8% crit chance to our base 22 at 12x combo, and remember, we have 3 Gladiator Mods total. This adds another 72.6 at 12x combo, so the final crit? 191.4. Almost entirely oranges, and a big DPS bump. Gladiator Might also adds into crit damage alongside Organ Shatter, and Weeping Wounds lets our status reach 162% at 12x combo. Prime Fury is stacked with Arcane Strike on Revenant because even though Tatsu Prime has a base 1.17 attack speed, two-handed Nikanas by virtue are a slower archetype. Prime Smite double dips in all the slash procs we inflict today for 2.4 times more damage. And finally, Lasting Sting. Remember how I said Expedite takes all remaining slash proc duration and combines it all into one big hit? Yeah, so doubling your status duration means there are twice the amount of bleed ticks remaining to combine, meaning Expedite would now do double damage. So Lasting Sting adding plus 110% status duration means our final status duration is 210%, meaning Expedite will do 2.1 times more damage. Companion? Simple Panzer setup. It's really only here to spread viral via viral quills, stack to 60-meter radar to find Demolysts early, and vacuum. Our Revenant doesn't need equilibrium and basically has zero energy or health problems, so the Sensa doesn't do much here. Pack Leader lets you heal your cat on hits with your Tatsu, but this won't do anything once you climb high enough that your Panzer starts getting one-shot. Modder can health gate for you if you really screw up through somehow Mesmer Skin and Rolling Guard, and Panzer gives your cat infinite cat lives. That's it. A fun new showcase of Tatsu Prime against Steel Path level 9k Demolysts. While it was a bit lacking, it definitely put up a good show. Good enough for everything on Steel Path and borderline for the Demolysts too. This means literally any other two-handed Nikana would have absolutely destroyed the level 9k demos, and even heavy attack builds on the Tatsu Prime probably could have worked well enough. But for fashion, Tatsu Prime is definitely the best two-handed Nikana out there. No contest. Cheers! If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave a like or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always, as soon as possible, like I've done with the Veilbreaker and now Revenant Prime release. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. You don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.